police from in the morning.
Ahoy hoy lonely mortals, welcome to another edition of Breaking Better News. I am your host as always, your friendly neighborhood Simpsons Ken Maximilian Julius Darrett. And joining me for this edition of the series is the Pussycat Punisher and Punster, Hannah Wallen. Hannah, how are you doing today?
I am doing alright. How about you?
I'm doing more than okay. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, I will complain because apparently we're supposed to get about 15 centimeters of snow in the next 24 hours. But, you know, I've had a pretty decent last couple of days. I got Sean had to share one of my videos, which was pretty cool.
Well, that's cool.
And I got a lot of traffic to my personal channel, which you should all subscribe to, by the way. But I'm not here to shill. I mean, I am here to shill, but that's not what you guys are here for.
Yeah,
we're here to talk.
I periodically have to resubscribe to all my channels, so I'll have to check and see if I'm still subscribed to yours.
Yes, please do. And all you should do as well for all my Simpsons ethno-state insanity. No, I'm kidding. I don't talk about that sort of thing. Anyways, we're going to be talking about a certain university called Stanford. So, Stanford University has been favoring women and domestic students for financial aid. We just learned about this past week. So, as far back as 2008, it seems that Stanford claimed that, quote, financial assistance was determined solely by a student's calculated financial need. Turns out, that's not the case. A second-year student named Adam Alcock, I'm so immature, Adam Alcock crunched 8 years of financial data from 2008 to 2015. The data, he was able to get his hands on it because it was available on a shared storage drive, which was accessible by the entire Graduate School of Business for roughly 6 months, apparently. He then delivered a 378-page analysis last November to Dean John Levin. Dean Levin tried to claim that Stanford was actually just giving, quote, incremental fellowship awards to applicants whose biographies make them particularly compelling and competitive in trying to attract a diverse class. However, Levin admits that Stanford never disclosed these incremental awards, and those awards just happen to favor women and domestic students regardless of their finances. Roughly 230 students have received fellowship grants that include full tuition or full tuition plus fees. Scholarships could potentially be 3 times larger for students with identical financial needs, according to the research that Mr. Alcock did. Admissions Director Kirsten Moss said the school would be appointing an advisory group that will help align financial aid with the values of the institution, needs of the students, and realities of the marketplace. Although according to the Daily, the business school didn't say whether future fellowships would continue solely under a needs-based system. Now, Hannah,
Yes.
Does this sort of thing surprise you?
Actually, it really doesn't. I'm sure it probably did surprise the students because, you know, a lot of young people are raised today with the idea that there is no discrimination in these areas. And, well, I mean, affirmative action is discrimination. I know that a lot of people don't like to think of it that way because they like to think of it as but it's not. It's discrimination. And it's discrimination 2 different directions. It's discrimination against the people that are getting cut out of whatever it is that the affirmative action program is doling out, whether it's jobs, promotions, financial assistance, whatever it is. The other end of it is tokenism. If it is affirmative action in an area like this where it should be merit-based or need-based, then we're looking at treating people like they are less and therefore cannot merit whatever it is that's being doled out on their own, and the government has to help them out, or the institution has to help them out, or and so on. And it would be different if they were looking at, this is financial aid and they based it on financial need. That's what financial aid is for. But they're basing it on gender, which is to say that even if women have the finances they need to go to school, they need this financial aid, apparently, according to the school, because they're women. Now, all I can think of is they think women don't manage their money as well as guys do.
Yeah.
Or
that's kind of sexist.
Women can't go out and earn what they need to meet their incidentals the way guys can and still handle a full class load. So it's to me, I would say it's an insult to the beneficiaries of the discrimination. But it's still, obviously, the primary victims of this are men who are treated as though they don't deserve the same financial assistance because they're male. And obviously, domestic students being beneficiaries, they're denying funding to foreign students. I'm assuming that's foreign and domestic versus, I can't think of any other any other meaning that they would have for domestic.
Yeah, that's what they mean.
So the international students then are losing out as well, which is bad for everybody, because a lot of times we have international students that come to the United States who are the best and brightest from their countries. They come here, they go to school here, they get their degrees here, and then they stay here and they work and they provide a benefit to their communities. And even though a lot of people might turn around and say, yes, but they're taking jobs that Americans want, that might not be true. And if it was true, it's still a merit-based system and a financial need-based system. And it really shouldn't, if they're going to accept international students, they shouldn't be discriminating.
Yeah, and oftentimes those women students come to America because in the countries that they're coming from, they're not able to study.
Right.
So why not give them that type of opportunity?
Well, the same thing happens with men too, and I mean, especially like if you look at India, it may be based on what family they're from. Even if they have the money to go to school, they might get discriminated against in their country. And there's other countries that have the same problems. You know, where you come from and who you come from might determine as much your access to schooling as whether or not you can pay for it.
But yeah, like 3 times larger scholarships potentially for women and domestic students. Apparently, I guess that's the bias. Hannah, I can't seem to think of any reason why that might happen aside from just pure laziness. Like they're just trying to put off the work of trying to determine whether or not somebody needs financial aid or if they actually merit their position in a place like Stanford, because that actually involves work. And they're just saying, oh, she's a woman, give her 3 times the amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, what else could it be?
Well, it's sexism. I mean, it's naked sexism, honestly. It's like I said, there are assumptions on which that type of decision is based. It's not something that is the default and they just didn't fix it. That was a decision made. Oh, we're gonna weight this towards women. Somebody did that on purpose. That's not an accident. And there's 2 types of prejudice again that go along there. The prejudice against men as whether or not they're deserving of the assistance, and the prejudice against women as to whether or not they can succeed without that assistance, even if they're in the same circumstances as a man in that circumstance would be assumed to be able to succeed without, or expected to succeed without. So it goes both ways. It's rougher on men in the short run, because they might miss out on their education altogether if it's wrongly assumed that they don't need the assistance. And in the long run, then it hits women later when they haven't had to struggle and they haven't had to overcome certain challenges because everything was made easy for them. And then they get out into the workplace in the real world and they have to deal with their family budget, and they have to deal with work issues, and they have to deal with all of the difficulties in real life. And now they're learning in their late 20s or their 30s, depending on how long they went to school. And that now they're all of a sudden having to pick up, like when it's like hitting 30 and being fat and out of shape and deciding that you're going to join a professional sport. You're not going to have the same experience as someone who was involved in sports throughout their high school and college years and remained athletic after they get out of college and then decided to get involved in a sport. It's a totally different thing.
Way to kill my dreams of joining the NBA, being the first Simpsons kid to be a part of the National Basketball Association. Hannah, come on.
Well, it depends. Are you that prejudice everybody has for tall people? You should automatically be able to dunk.
Yes.
If you're over 6 feet tall, man, that's it.
I mean, they say that white men can't jump, but I wonder if that applies to yellow men.
Well, tall men don't have to, right?
True. I am 6'4".
So
I don't know. Maybe just with that alone, I could get into the NBA. But That was a weird segue.
Yeah.
I guess we should just end this. I mean, like, we got the point across. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Breaking Better News. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. Trust us, it really helps us out. Well, with the YouTube algorithm, it just tells YouTube that, hey, our content is worth watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Honey Badger Radio produces tons of videos every single week, every single day. Make sure you check out Hannah's show. Make sure you check out more episodes of this show and our live shows as well. Also, we'd love to hear what you guys think about any or all of the things that Hannah and I discussed today. Whether you agree or disagree, just keep that conversation going. And speaking of Hannah, I want to thank Hannah, as always, for coming in on such short notice. And until next time, stay yellow.